Hi friends, so I've been using the HTX 4K from G-Wolves for the past month, and I can safely say that it can be endgame material for some of you guys. Let's start with one of the main selling points of this mouse, the incredibly low weight. My particular model, which is the hold version in this beautiful ruby transparent colorway, weighs around 43 grams with the stock skates and without any grips installed. That is very lightweight for a mouse. For comparison, the Starlight S Small from Final Mouse is listed as 42 grams. But what if I told you that you can get this mouse even lighter? Because like usual with the plastic products, different colors have different weights. And the lightest version of this mouse is the black one with the holes, which comes around 39 grams, which is insanely low weight. You can also choose if you want the holes or not. There is a solid shell version available in multiple colorways, so it's nice to see multiple options of the same mouse. The weight balance is also very good on this mouse in my opinion. It is fairly centered as far as I can tell. G-Wolves has really stepped up their build quality game this recent year. So like on the HTS Plus, the sides are reinforced with the PCB, and on my HTX the build quality is even more solid than on my HTS Plus, which I previously tested, and that's crazy because this is even lighter than that one. There is no side flex to be felt and it feels as solid as on day one of using. The mouse will probably flex some if you press it from the top where the holes are, but seriously, that doesn't apply to anything in real use. The main buttons have slight sideways wobble even when bottomed out, but it is so minor that I can feel it in use. So all in all, the build quality is really good on the HTX 4K. The main clicks of the mouse are the zippy switches, the same ones they use on the HTS Plus, and their implementation is also very good in this mouse. There is no mushiness or significant pre or post travel on my HTX. The scroll wheel is a bit on the stiffer side in my unit, so I will probably put some Krytox 205 grade 0 on it when I decide to open the mouse. Side buttons are tactile and nicely shaped, but the backside button is a bit on the mushier side. It goes in a bit too much if you press hard enough. And speaking about the switches, you do not need to use a stick to turn on the mouse on or off anymore, because you can actually fit your finger to the power button. Crazy how the technology advances. Weird times we live in. The mouse has no real coating as far as I can tell, so it may feel a bit slippery depending on your skin type. Because the mouse is very lightweight, the problem might not be as big as on the other heavier mice with no coatings, but personally I found my experience to be better with some grips installed. Now I'm using the Pulsar Super Grips, but G-Wolves has actually included some grips in the package, and frankly they are good enough to be used, so you can see how the mouse feels with or without the grips. The skates that are pre-installed have been also upgraded in the newest batches, and they are now very rounded dot skates. I seriously had no problems with them, but just to try I've installed some HTS Plus core pads to this mouse now. You also get an extra sheet of this new good dot skates with seriously rounded edges, and you also get a pair of their shitty larger skates, so you can choose if you want a great experience or a bad one. If I had to describe the shape quickly, I'd say it's a very low profile medium wide mouse with no significant hump. When I claw this mouse, it almost feels like I'm just holding my hand on the mousepad. It is just that low. From the bottom we can see it's shaped like an hourglass and the sides are sloped down, so you can get a really consistent grip with it. There is not much clearance between the front of the main clicks and the mousepad, so yeah, it is very low profile from the front. This mouse suits probably a fingertip gripper's needs the best considering its weight and the shape, but I can also claw it pretty easily, especially with the super grips installed. The saving grace for me in the shape is the width of this mouse, which feels perfect for my hand size, which is 17.5 and 10.5 centimeters. However, I noticed that it is a shape that I need to adjust for a bit every time I switch from another mouse, especially because of the very low profile. If you don't cheat on your HTX with other chunkier mice, you will not have this problem. Let's quickly compare the shape of the HTX to the HTS Plus and also the PMM Starlight S like model. First, you can see the HTX Plus has a higher profile with a bigger center hump, so it may be the safer G-Wolf shape for most people. Compared to the PMM Starlight S model, the height and the very low hump feel and look very similar, but the width is the differentiator here. I've tried to use a PMM SLS mouse, but my hand just starts cramping with it very quickly because it is just too narrow for me. I've not experienced any cramping with the HTX, however, so yeah, the width is very good in my opinion. The shape of the HTX might not be for everyone, but personally I perform very well with it after some time adjusting. The 4K implementation feels also really good on the HTX. 4K polling can be a bit tricky, however, so you may need to do some optimizing. If you experience any stuttering or lag spikes or something, I suggest you go to their Discord and be ridiculed a bit and then eventually helped after couple of days. One major tip is to disconnect every other wireless mouse dongle from your PC while using this, because they can cause some interference. Then also you might want to make sure that the mouse dongle is the only USB device on a single USB root hub. You can do this with a program called USB Treevier. Then some BIOS tweaking might also be needed. I'm not an expert on that, however, I just have followed other people's instructions like the obedient little sheep I am. So ask your questions about those in their Discord. I also tested the motion delay with mouse tester and it's really good. I found it to be around minus 0.3 and minus 0.35 milliseconds, so it's right between the Razer 4K, which is around minus 0.5 milliseconds, and the Vaxi XE wireless. So yeah, pretty good. Motion sync also doesn't seem to introduce any extra motion delay with the mouse, so a really nice implementation there as well. One big negative of this mouse is the battery life. Because of the weight savings, we have a smallish battery installed. I believe it's 200 milliampere hours, and in my experience you get a day's usage with this mouse with the 4K polling rate. That can be kinda annoying for some, so keep that in mind. The sensor position is also one of the things I love about this mouse. It is a bit more forward than usually on these smaller mice, so it sits right between my pinky and my thumb, so yeah, quite the ideal position, at least for my hand size. Now let's talk about the rest of the stuff you get with the mouse. Like on my previous G-Wolves mouse unboxing with the HTX Plus Classic, you are met with the nice strong fragrance of Jim's choosing. In addition to the skates and the grips I already mentioned, you actually get a makeup brush to brush your mouse with, and also the optional sticker to install to the bottom of the mouse. Then you also get a slightly larger spare battery. I believe it's 250 milliampere hours. Let me check. Yeah, it's 250 milliampere hours, so it's a bit larger than the stock one which is installed. You can choose if you want to extend the battery life a bit of the mouse and at the same time add extra few grams of weight to the mouse. It's your choice. I thought I'd get the battery tester with the mouse, but I didn't, so it might be that they have run out of those or they just forgot because they are G-Wolves after all. Then you get two cables and a dongle. The rubber cable is very short, and that is to be used with the 4K dongle, so that can be an issue if you have a large desk and the PC is far from your mousepad. This I guess is to ensure the better stability with the 4K polling rate, but I wonder if they could have put just a tiny bit longer cable with the dongle, or even better, make the dongle use USB-C. That's right, the dongle, the 4K dongle is using micro USB and the mouse is using USB-C, so you need to use two separate cables. Yeah, design choice. Another G-Wolves thing. What can you do? The price of this mouse is also a bit too steep for my liking, and it is $169, so you can save extra $10 from that by using a creator code at checkout. For example, you can use my code Jerrorr at checkout if you want. But yeah, you don't have to do that. But in conclusion, the HTX is a really nice addition to G-Wolves mouse family, and I will keep it in my main rotation 100%. The build quality is very nice and the weight just feels so good to use. And by the way, this is not a hand-picked model for review. This is a model I purchased for myself with my own money. So I hope this represents the usual consumer experience with the mouse. The shape might not be for everyone, so if you are unsure about the shape, maybe wait until the HTX is available on Amazon and be able to exploit the Amazon return policy. That's it for the video. Thanks guys for watching, and press subscribe and like the video, and see you on the next one. Goodbye.